every Black woman in America, honestly, can build this sense of financial freedom for herself. You don't have to be in the driver's seat of my career. You just got to do it scared. I feel like we are well equipped to start something new. Our fear might push us back, or we feel like we need to go and do X, Y, and Z. We need to go get another degree. We need to read 5 more books.
And so the transition for you was then transitioning into $1.5 million worth of real estate assets and 15 doors.
It's not just about going to find another job. And so what can I do to create this financial security for myself that if it is going for another job or if it's pursuing a career, I'm doing it because I know the impact I'm bringing to an organization and not because I need to pay my bills.
Not everybody's journey is to get 15 doors in 2 years, but that just happened to be your journey that the Lord blessed you with.
For me, at a very young age in America, it was
Well, hey guys, welcome to the Blueprint Podcast, here for another episode. And today we have an amazing guest, Miss Rosie Amponsa, and she is an entrepreneur, YouTuber, real estate investor. And we are going to talk about all things YouTube, all things real estate, all things faith. And so we're super excited for this episode. Welcome to the Blueprint Podcast on Arkitect Network. Let's get started. All right, Rosie, this is so exciting. We got connected through YouTube, the power of YouTube. I love it. You get to just connect with other creators, and your channel and your content was so compelling to me. I was like, I have to reach out to this person. Like, who is this? And so like, you're so confident, your personality shows up through your content. Your editing is on point. Even just how you structure your video. So like, as a fellow YouTube creator, I was just like, oh my gosh, give her props. She's doing a great job. So first of all, I just want to give you your flowers before we get started.
Thank you so much. And I'm super excited. I'm so glad you reached out. I love what you're building, the platform to be able to encourage your community, our community. So I'm super excited that you thought of me to invite me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think our community is, both of our communities are going to get a lot of value out of this, because I think you're going to talk about some real estate stuff. I have a lot of people who are into real estate. So we're going to talk about some really specific real estate moves that you're making, and then talk about YouTube. So let's start off with YouTube. Like, why did you start your YouTube channel?
In all honesty, when I was at a point where real estate was kind of stabilized, I looked back and I said, I believe that every Black woman in America, honestly, can build this sense of financial freedom for herself. Because when I think about my corporate experience, it was very challenging, from things that I couldn't control just because of who I was as a Black woman in corporate America. It kind of sucks. So I said, you know what? I need to share this information because every other woman will be able to build a foundation financially that they don't have to tie themselves to a role that will impact their well-being, their mental health, if they don't have to. And the channel was born.
Yeah, I love that. And I guess what are you seeing as a topic that people are interested in? Like, what's the topic that like you're seeing people really just gravitate toward on YouTube?
So what I'm noticing is people don't necessarily have the freedom to leave their jobs, but they're looking for ways to increase their cash flow, right? Make money and be able to, in the long run, have the flexibility to leave their job. So that's why I was kind of able to meet at the intersection of like, okay, I can share with you what I've done with real estate in hopes that it inspires you to take it on, or other financial avenues that you can also increase your cash coming in, your revenue coming in, so that it can kind of help you set yourself up for that financial foundation that I've been talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that. I think I've been seeing kind of a similar thread with some of my analytics. YouTube, for those of you who aren't active YouTubers, the analytics platform will tell you what what people are searching for and what they're looking for in top trends. And so like how to make more money online, how to make money with a 9-to-5, how to side hustle. Those are all topics that people are really looking for. I think our economy right now, people are trying to find ways to make ends meet, right? The same dollar does not stretch like it used to, right? So we're trying to figure out, like, how do we do this thing? You know, I branched out and became a full-time entrepreneur and quit my job in 2023. And I will say, like, it was hard, right? And it's been tough, like getting leads and bringing in business. And so like, I was like, yo, if you don't got to quit your job, definitely keep that until you feel like you're at a different level to where it's kind of like, it's a bonus because it is hard, right? So for people who are kind of in that position, definitely don't feel the pressure to be like the quote unquote entrepreneur who quits their job. I know that's a lot of narrative that we all want to do, but until you're ready for that, like you don't have to. And Rosie is a perfect example of how to do that the right way. And so let's get into your story, right? Because you were the corporate sis, right? You had it going on. You had the awesome job. And so let's talk about like what happened. So first start off with like kind of getting laid off and then we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, man. What do the girlies say nowadays? Corporate baddie, tech baddie.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I was killing it. I mean, I still have accolades to show for it. But it reached a point where the experiences I was having had nothing to do with the delivery of my work. My work was either the same or exceptional than my immediate group. Being the only Black woman, some of the experiences just did not add up. I believe I was probably the one with the highest degree in our team. But yet when it came to like yearly promotions or things like that, it's like everything checks out, right? You're getting your sales numbers, you're doing what you're supposed to do, but then there's always just that one thing. There's always just that one something. And, you know, I had this one friend in corporate America. So to be specific, she's a white woman and she was very intentional about her opening up and sharing with me her experiences in the corporate world because, you know, she was like, hey, I understand some of the challenges. I have other friends and I can see it. So being in that position and her opening up to me, the conversation she's having with managers, the conversation she's having upper leadership, how her promotional conversation went, her showing me her sales numbers. So I'm not only seeing her internal background, I'm also hearing the conversations that she's having with management. And I'm like, is not mathing, you know, and oh, bless her heart. She'll just be like, just go speak to them. Everything will be great. I spoke to them and everything was great, you know? But then she'll show me the data and I'm like, this does not make sense. And it wasn't until I, you know, hey, I'm going to push for what is right because at the end of the day, if I'm delivering on the responsibilities that you've given me and I'm hitting it and achieving it, there should be no reason why you should be basically kind of stunting my growth, right? And long story short, company had a layoff. I was part of it. And it was super traumatic because it was like a journey to get there where everything that you could think of that they could throw at me, it was thrown at me. And I actually can't talk so deep about it because I had to file with the EEOC, which is an organization for race relations and things like that. And don't even get me started about that. And they barely ever find any case to be viable. And my case was actually found to have probable cause. So that means that there was enough evidence for something to be funny about that. So just to give you the overarching so that I don't go into anything legal, the bottom line was I had to take a step back and say, I don't deserve to be treated this way. You're not going to be in the driver's seat of my career. And it's not just about going to find another job. And so what can I do to create this financial security for myself that if it is going for another job or if it's pursuing a career, I'm doing it because I know the impact I'm bringing to an organization and not because I need to pay my bills.
Wow. Yeah. And so the transition for you was then transitioning into $1.5 million worth of real estate assets and 15 doors, right? And doing that in 2 years. So we're talking about like sis like went into a brick wall in her corporate job and then just went and went into real estate success. So talk about how you were able to do that so fast and just kind of how you got into real estate.
You know, I remember speaking to a friend of mine's and he's also an attorney. And so he likes to talk from a very, you know, process and result kind of point of view. And he asked me literally the question you just did, how did you survive this transition and go so like basically crazy to deliver these kind of results? And I thought about it and I said, honestly, it's because of the grace of God. Because if I tell you how much the corporate experience impacted my health, there were times where I was spending every other day at the ER and I was being put through all kinds of machines to figure out what was going on with me. There was a point where I literally passed out of pain from in my apartment. And thank God my neighbor was like a doctor and he happened to be walking by there in the morning and literally called. So these were the healthcare experiences I was having. And then I was like, no, No, because if they are not careful, they take me out this game. Hello,
Yeah.
hello. What are they gonna do? Well, she was just so great. Next, no. So
Yeah.
I think from that, I don't even know, because technically I should have taken a good, just like year to chill and relax. But I was like, no one is gonna come determine what direction my career is supposed to go in. So with that, not even having any real estate experience, right? I haven't even bought my primary home. I still haven't bought my primary home.
Wow.
Here I am. I jump
Yeah.
in and I'm like, what do I need to learn? How do I need to do it? But the thing was, I had already been building foundational things, right? Like my finances, like my credit. Those are things that I've always had set in place because real estate was something I thought I was going to do after, the big career, after maybe, 10, 20 years in the career. I've built this accolades and stuff like that. But boom, I just woke up one day. I just happened to be also in an area that made sense for my business model. And I just went to town doing it.
Wow. So for you, it was kind of already building up the foundation. It was just stair stepping, right? It was like having financial literacy, saving money. I know. So you're a Cornell grad, MBA. Like, congrats on that. I mean, like Ivy League, like you have done the thing. So you're used to like research, working hard, learning things. So as you're in your corporate job, you're like learning, you're building the foundation, which I think is so important. I don't want to just swoosh past that because a lot of times like we want to make it happen fast. Like we want to be the own 15 doors, own a bunch of real estate. And we want to figure out how do we do it with like, you always see people looking, well, how do I do it with no money? Or how do I do it with this? Or how do we try all these creative solutions, right? Which obviously, depending on what your situation is, you might have to be more creative, right? But I think the core of what you're saying is, hey, you really have to be able to work on the foundations first to help you get there. And that's how that's how you do it fast. And not everybody's journey is to get 15 doors in 2 years. But that just happened to be your journey that the Lord blessed you with. So, talk about a few more of those foundational things that you did to kind of set yourself for success. Excuse me. You did to set yourself up for success in real estate.
Man, so it was many years ago. I learned one key fundamental with my finances that completely set me up. Just set me up for success, that is, and completely transformed my life. And this was the idea of paying myself first.
Okay.
And this concept where if I got whatever paycheck it was and it came into my bank account, I was going to calculate a certain percentage for it to go directly into a high yield savings account or an investment account. And I had learned a lot about investment accounts, and there's a whole story about that. And I decided to stay with ETFs, which are exchange traded funds, and be able to buy it. It's a bit more secure, if you may say. But if you're going to invest in anything, you need to know that you could lose your money, period. So doing and learning those kind of fundamentals, I just set up. It didn't matter because back then I wasn't even in corporate back then. I was working, it was like a $10 or $12 an hour job. And I still was able to take a percentage out of that and start saving. And once I had that fundamentals down, when it came to like, I need to be able to get a high paying job in order for me to be able to level up in this game. And some people think, they need to go do X, Y, and Z. No, the easiest thing to do to increase your net worth is to get a high paying job, right? The job that's it. Like, and it's so easy to do, right? How do you get your resume to set up in a way that it attracts the right audience, focusing on the right job, get that. And so then you have more room to be able to do and save, to be able to invest, to get the knowledge on how to fix your credit, right? And even fixing credit, you don't need to go pay a company to be able to do that. Hop on YouTube a couple hours, find some letters, look at what's on your thing. That's the thing. People are not willing to put in that work. You got to put in a little bit of elbow grease, right? Pull up that's exactly what I did. My credit was like, back then, and when you're younger, if you get access to a credit card or something, you're using it in a heartbeat. So you are not really understanding the impact of your finances. But once you kind of come to it, then take responsibility of it. Go in there, look at what's on there, see who you can negotiate with, see who you can send letters out to, and understand kind of what kind of, advantage or legalities that you have to be able to take advantage of. So those are the fundamentals that I really put in place that I continue to practice, and I kind of just left and forget it. And that's what you got to do, especially with your bills, right? You got to be able to, once again, get a high paying job so you can handle your bills. You got to live below your means and set up automated, right? if I didn't set up my bills to be automated, I would have missed something because my brain be all over the place sometimes. So getting those things in place allow for me to make sure that the bills are being paid, the credit is being impacted because there's consistency in bills now. And then there's also automation in the funds going into either my ETF account or my high yield savings account. And then the way I set up my investment account too is I did the whole aspect of like compound interest. Oh my God. That blew my mind because I would keep my eye off of it for like 6 months and I'll come back and I'm like, I gained this amount of money in this short amount of time. Like people need to get this knowledge.
Yeah.
Right? If I had doubled down in just investments, I'm pretty sure that could have also been a sizable thing. But in the long run, it was a great opportunity for me to cash out of that, use it into real estate, and kind of increase the cash flow that I could get from that investment.
I love that. And you have videos on all this. So if you're like, yo, how is Rosie doing all that? She's got it all on her YouTube channel. Go watch it. Her videos are super bingeable and very snackable. Like these are like 6 to 10 minute episodes that if you got it on point two, you can get through it quick and she's going to give you the game, right? So we don't have time to dive into super detail that, but like I said, check out our channel. We'll have it linked somewhere on the video for you to check that out. What I want to point out is, number one, you said pay yourself first. But what I want to add to that is you paid your future self first, right? Because you were like taking money out that like you were putting into investments that like you weren't going to use that money, right? So typically when we say pay yourself first, it's like, all right, yeah, I need to like, put away some sizable money for me, me to use for myself, whatever. Like, yeah, you were doing that for your future self. So I want to point that out. Number two, you had a lifestyle of investing. So we're looking at your success now as a real estate investor where you now have millions of dollars worth of real estate assets, but you had already built up a lifestyle of investing. So whether that was through, the early on, investing in the real estate or in the, ETFs or through your brokerage account or in your education, investing in higher education to get yourself a higher paying job. Those are all investments that you were making. So when we talk about being a good investor and doing it fast, it's like, okay, what's your lifestyle? So if your lifestyle is that like you just want to switch a flip and become a real estate guru out of nowhere, like it's like we got to look at like what have you done in the past to set yourself up for success, and how can you invest when you have $10 or when you have 500,000, right? It's really different, right? But the core principle is the same as how do you invest? And I think also, how can you invest in people too? So for those of you who are like, yo, I literally have no money, Michael. Like, I don't have any resources. Like, what are you talking to me about, right? Like, how can you go invest in the people around you and help people's lives around you be better? Because that's the same principle. So I really just wanted to call that out. I think that was super important. And I really wanted to like break that down for folks that may not necessarily see themselves in this story. I want to make this practical for everyone. What do you think about that?
I think I couldn't have said it any better, Michael. You said it right on. You are investing in your future self. I think that's so powerful. And this idea that you need to go make big money in order to start somewhere, absolutely not. Yeah. Absolutely not. People just research what is out there. I remember when I started investing, I found a local group. I used to live back in Massachusetts, and I found a local group of old folk. These are a bunch of old folks that just come together and fight about the stock market. And I had no idea what they were talking about. And I was sitting there and they'll be like, Rosie, you are really setting me up for success. And the ticker and the this and all these terms. And I'm like, yeah. I had no idea. But then I look at today and I'm like, it clicks.
Yeah.
It makes sense, right? And so what are you doing to, like you said, educate yourself so that you can find the opportunity to get a higher paying job? And yes, you don't need to go to, go to the big schools or invest tons of money into that. There's so much education, Michael. It's about what are you willing to sacrifice, right?
Yeah.
Right?
That's so good.
And I would say in this industry, you either got money or you got time. And in the beginning, there was not a lot of money, but I definitely had time. And so I figured out and created processes in order for me to be able to get the money.
Yeah, so good. I love it. Okay, so in one of your videos, you talked about the 203 loan product that you're using for your flips. So talk about that really quick in terms of like if someone's like wanting a practical tip on how to get into real estate investing. Talk about that loan product and how it's helped you get multiple doors at a time, which I can also probably help contribute to you being able to scale so fast.
Yeah. So let me clarify. A 203K loan will be more for somebody buying a residential property. And so the way I advise it is that if you're going to buy your first home or a home, buy 4 doors, because the FHA, the first time home buyer program, allows for you to buy 4 doors. It's still considered a residential home or multifamily, and you can use products like 203k. Today there's so many, from a state level, from a whole country level, and the one I'm familiar with is like a 203k loan. And so you'll be
Mm-hmm.
able to partner that up and use that as renovating for your home. The way I did it to be able to move so quickly was I went more private, right? Because now I had built that financial foundation. I had the credit to be able to get really good rates that was actually comparable to what the governmental FHAs were offering. But I knew going private, it might cost a little bit more, but I had that financial stability to be able to do that. But the key was it would allow for me to move much quicker. So if I was using a tool, that's why I advise a 203k loan, because you're still moving. Like you said, hey, someone might not want to do 10, 15 houses in 2 years, but what if they bought their first 4-door property in 1 year? You go ahead and use your FHA 203k loan. But with me, I use the private lender. And then I used through that, I was able to take funds and renovate it. I also tapped into my network, because now as you're building relationships, you don't underestimate people that have money, okay? That look as simple. And next thing you know, you build trust with them. They're able to give you the money. Their money's backed by the property that they're investing in. And I'm able to use that to renovate quickly. Go ahead and find a local bank, refinance out, pay my lenders off, and be able to keep the equity in the home and a little bit of profit, because I did the whole renovation process properly. So it was through private lending that I was able to move so quickly. However, it's the exact same process if you're using your FHA 203k loan. You're just moving at a much more, reasonable pace, which is still very, very, very much advised.
Okay, got it. Okay, and then in terms of those private lender, is that kind of when we talked about earlier about investing in relationships, were those people that you had to kind of build up a relationship, or was it like, hey, here's how much money you got, here's my credit, and they're like, yo, how much money do you need? Like, how was that process?
Yeah, so it's both. There are lending institutions or banks who will lend at you at a slightly higher rate or at a fee, and they'll be able to do it just based on the value of the property, and they'll be able to give you money based on your credit, and that's about it. And you go ahead, you purchase the property, you refinance it out, and you're able to basically, have the equity of your home, have your rents and things like that. So what I would do actually to help really maximize my profits is I'll look into foreclosure properties, right? And that was also a really key way for me to like pick up 3-5 properties all at once. But with the foreclosure property, you need to pay for it in cash, because you're dealing with the city or state that
county
does
or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So through that, it was just the relationships that I had built, right? And being able to go back, show them my portfolio. I had to create. And it's so funny you talk about experience. It's like now all that experience I have in doing market research and creating a portfolio, I'm doing it for myself now, my own brand. I'm like, hello, my name is Rosie. This is a business. This is what I've done so far. Now I'm bringing in all my corporate experience, right? I manage X million dollars in tech transformation for this company and that company or this government agency or that. And so all of that now becomes my package presented to someone that I have a relationship with. And I say, hey, I need $100,000. I'm going to give you X amount of interest for this amount of time. I'm going to back it up with the property. You're going to be the only person on it in terms of your guarantee. And so if anything's happened to me or if I'm not able to pay, you're basically able to foreclose me out. The insurance, you're going to be on it as well. So there's so much supporting it and backing it. And I actually have an interesting story about this, Michael.
Okay.
Ooh,
I love an interesting story.
You want me to tell you?
Yes.
So when I was looking for funds, I have to say this. Okay, so when I was looking for funds, I reached out to my whole network, my friends, folks I've grown up with, folks I went to school with, folks I've been to work with, who just know me and just know the fundamental on who I am and my hustle, okay? And interestingly enough, it ended up being about 5 or 7 folks that were interested, and they were like, tell me more. I don't know how to say it, but it's a small sample size, Michael. But let me tell you this. There were about 7 men, and 4 of them were Black men, and 3 of them were white men. And I can't say that this is enough of a data to do anything, but I just found it interesting that every single one of the Black individuals were looking for an equity stake in my business. But they didn't have experience in real estate. And if you know real estate, you actually want to leverage interest in a short time frame because you can get a much higher interest. So back then the market was going at like 4%, 3%. And I was paying my private lenders in the teens, like 12, 13.
Wow. Okay.
You know what I mean? And I don't know what this means, but I just found it so interesting that the white guys got it. Okay. And they were like, just show me who you are. Show me the numbers of the property. Show me how my money is going to be secured. And just like that, they got it because to them, making interest off of their 401k or their private IRA or something, it beats the market. You're not going to get 13, 14% in the market. But if I were to take this money and give it to you, because one, I trust you. And not only that, it's not even about trust because they're guaranteed the property is backing the investment they're giving in. I didn't put not more than one person on a property. And don't ever do that, by the way. If anyone is wanting you to invest in a property and they have like tens of people, hundreds of people on a property, that can be challenging. So I just found it so interesting that, wow. And then
do you think that's kind of education, like just not understanding just even how to do real estate? Like, you mean, is that just, I think that sounds like to me like an education disparity.
That could be something.
Which is interesting to me because like right now we're going through kind of a Black renaissance when it comes to real estate. I mean, I think a lot of Black people are trying to get into real estate and learn real estate. And so it's interesting that, that could just be, like you said, a small sample size. But I think overall, I think as a culture, I think we are starting to learn to get more savvy and become more savvy investors. And so, hopefully in the future that starts to change a little bit. But one thing I want to also note that you are using is you invest in Section 8 housing, which is interesting because I think that gets a bad rep, right? Like I think, kind of, so like you have a completely different perspective on that. So talk about Section 8 housing and I guess kind of how that's helping you still get a good ROI. Because in my view, the government contracts or the government, limits how much you can make based on how much they're going to pay out. So I'm like, well, why would I do that when I can just get market rate rent, right? So talk about kind of how you think about it.
Yes, and yes. I wish I knew about Section 8 growing up in America because, man, was it a struggle. I am all for Section 8. I think there are fundamentals that you need to put in place in order to take on a tenant. Most folks just kind of take whatever the housing authority brings them and they just go with it. And unfortunately, that can end up in a pretty bad situation. I foundationally believe that just like me and you, there are individuals on the voucher program who want better for themselves. There are mothers who want their kids to be in a better zip code, who want their kids to be able to go to better schools, who want peace of mind to take their kids to safe parks and not hear gunshots and all that stuff. Those are the mothers that I have come in contact with, that I have given them the beautiful renovated homes because they don't have access to these homes when they look at the options in the rents that they're doing. And so because of that, I've been able to leverage Section 8 to kind of back and guarantee my portfolio. So if anything is to happen, like it did with the 2020 things shutting down,
pandemic,
when the housing market crashed, I'm still set up in a way where my rents are guaranteed. My tenants, I've been able to really comb through them and find that right candidate that they were already, and then, it's so interesting. They were living in homes that obviously was not in good conditions. The landlords were not taking care of the homes. But if you enter the home, Michael, you'd be like, this is a woman who appreciates what she currently has, right?
Wow.
There might be a ceiling leaking or something, but then you'll see that she'll have a bucket sitting there. You see there's no speck of dust anywhere around. You see that she'll put something on the wall to cover all the cracked walls.
So you were like going to their houses to see their current housing situation?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I will come and visit you. If you say no, then I mean, hello. That's it. I remember I'd go to homes and outside you see a bunch of trash out there. That already is a red flag, right?
Like, nope, can't do it.
Right? Are you preparing for me to come in? Hello?
Yeah.
Or you go to a home and all you smell is like deep bleach from top to bottom, just like scraped everywhere and all that trash outside. No, you prepared for me, right? But you go to home and it's just all chill and laid back and just the air breezing through the space. You're just like, yes. I know this neighborhood and I know you want to move. I'll give you that home.
That's so good.
And you also want to check the current homes. Like every once in a year, I'll do a walkthrough, then make a decision if I'm going to renew your lease based on how you've been paying your water bill. And because the water bill is tied to our house, tied to the investment owner in this area. So we want to make sure that you're keeping up with that.
What state are you in again?
Ohio.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah. So if any folks are interested in real estate, look into Middle America. Middle America. And you don't have to live in Middle America because you're going to be like, oh, I don't want to live here. But there has to be some relation of you maybe even moving for a couple of years or going back and forth. But if you want to leverage that high cash flow, look into Middle America to invest in.
Okay. Love it. Okay. What are some books or resources that you've used in your real estate journey to kind of help you get where you're at?
To tell you the truth, Michael, at the pace that I moved, I didn't read a lot of books. Okay. But I did watch a ton of YouTube videos.
Okay.
Business in general is something that if you've always been interested in it, you have the fundamentals. It's kind of like when I was doing YouTube. I've tried so many versions of it and I know what works, but we just don't do it. You know what I'm saying? And even in some of my videos, I talk about our generation. I feel like Black folk were really well educated. We have the foundational desire. We have the drive. So I feel like we are well equipped to start something new. And what tends to happen is our fear might push us back, or we feel like we need to go and do X, Y, and Z. We need to go get another degree. We need to read 5 more books. But it's like, if that desire has come in your heart already, sis, trust me, you have everything that you need in you to get going and get started.
Is that why your opening line for your pod or for your YouTube is like, you just got to do it scared? I literally love that so much. That's like one of my favorite things. When I heard it the first time, I was like, I love that. And I love how it's so evident who your people are. Cause like, you're always saying like sis, and I can tell you're empowering women. I love how you bring in just your African heritage. Like there's times when I hear, I hear it come out in your voice or things that you say. And so I think it's so evident who you're talking to. And so I think that's why your channel has seen so much early success. It's because I think you're very clear on who you're talking to and what you're trying to accomplish in their life. And so that's something that's been inspiring me. I've been trying to find my niche and kind of experiment with some different topics. And so I'm just inspired by your clarity, and you know exactly who you're for, you know what you're trying to do, and just the drive. And I love that. So I'm so inspired by that. My last question for you is, how has God guided you through this YouTube real estate entrepreneurship journey? Because I think you've been pretty clear about that in some of your content. I've seen on your page, like you're a believer. And so I would love to kind of hear your take on that and kind of how God's been with you along the way.
I've always foundationally believed that in order to have clarity on your purpose, it's not something that you go and find. It's something that was already placed in you before even if you became to, right? And being able to recognize that for me was having a conversation with God. And being able to then pursue it. And it's funny because now it only took 30 something years. I just feel so much more comfortable to come online and be myself and do all that stuff, because I feel like I've gone all kinds of ways trying to present it in a way that I thought would be more palatable to an audience. Meanwhile, all I had to be was myself in the vision that was kept sowing in my heart. So I'm constantly having a conversation with God. I'm like, hello, Daddy, I'm here today. Today was a rough week. Okay. I cried about 5 times. Let me tell you what's going on. And it's kind of crazy how much you need God in driving business. Even in making business decisions, there's only so much business books you can read. There's only so much, like the way things drop and you have to go and put out fires left and right. You gonna need to have some foundational prayer to sustain you, or else you're just gonna be out here with fire coming out of your ear in every little second. So to me, it's constantly recognizing that, asking God, am I walking in my purpose? having
Hmm.
conversations with God, and also foundationally
Hmm.
thanking him. Because if you're not careful and you're just running, going, you don't realize that those prayers you prayed for, right? Because just like you've always been like, I want to build that entrepreneurial business and I want to live it, but we're doing it, we're living it.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
being so thankful and showing gratitude also expands the opportunity that comes my way.
Wow. Love that thankfulness. I know I said that I had one that was my last question. I just thought of one more.
Let's
Okay,
go
so because you're because are you an immigrant or like do you just kind of still have your African accent?
No. I'm an immigrant.
Okay,
Born in
I feel
Ghana,
like
and yeah.
from Ghana.
Yes.
Okay, love it. That's Ghana is so trending right now. Like I see reels on my page all the time of like African Americans going to Ghana and having a great time and investing in real estate over there. So that definitely is definitely something that I'm happy to see. How has that set you up for success in the US? Because I think I've seen so many African immigrants just come to the US and just absolutely crush it. And I think that's true of a lot of immigrants, right? I'm married to an immigrant and, you know, she's from India and she came here and like she was on a mission, right? Like, so how has that also aided in your success as well in terms of just like your mindset and kind of what you're trying to accomplish?
Oh man. I mean, I think there is a sense of resiliency that can be reflected also in African Americans as well.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense of like, I don't desire to live in this state. What do I need
Mm-hmm.
to do to change it? And for me, at a very young age in America, it was poverty that struck
Mm-hmm.
me. And I said, absolutely not. This is not how I believe I desire to live. This is not how God intended for me to live. So whether it was the Africanness in me or the pure just drive in me, man, I think it's just believing that
Mm-hmm.
if you do deserve better, you're going to go figure it out on what you need to
Yeah.
do to remove yourself from that situation and never, ever like stack your bets against that kind of experience to never, ever have to experience that or have your children experience that either. And
Yeah.
also shout
So
out to
good.
Ghana with all the trending things because I
Yeah.
know yes, a lot of folks have visited and I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. I have African American friends who've done like the DNA test or something and they know like
Mm-hmm.
they're Ghanaian or they're Nigerian and then now they're visiting. And
Yeah.
absolutely, I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I love that. Well, hey, again, I am so thankful that you were able to come onto the channel today and just provide value. This has been so fun. And I am like, for all my subscribers watching, go subscribe to Rosie's channel. I think you're like 6 subscribers away from 500. So by the time this comes out, you'll probably have eclipsed that. But if you're watching this video and she's not at 500 subscribers, go subscribe right now to Rosie's channel because she's putting out some rock star content. And as you've already listened, if you're still listening at this point, you already know this woman knows what she's talking about. She's done the thing. And I'm super proud of you. I'm one of your biggest fans and looking forward to see what's next for you and your real estate journey and your life in general and what you got going on with your YouTube channel.
Michael, thank you so much. I'm so grateful you thought of me to bring me on. I'm also very excited with where your platform is going. Your community is really connected as it continues to grow. So thank you. Thank you for creating
Yeah.
this platform to be able to share stories that hopefully encourages, inspires, or sparks an idea within our community. So thank you for that, Michael.
Oh, no problem. All right. Thank y'all for watching. We'll see you in the next video.